Yeah, it's looking to be a very tough entrance for Boris Johnson here, because you have several ministers either having resigned already or saying that they will resign. That's not a great look for him. He also suffered his first defeat, I think, before he even walked through the doors of number 10 Downing Street, because Parliament voted to try and block him from suspending them, which is something that he said he might do if they try to stop him from taking the UK out of the European Union. It's going to be much harder for him to do that now because of a recent vote by Parliament, and so he's facing a lot of problems here. But, you know, it's not only Brexit, as you've been saying just now. You know, it's Iran too. He's got this entire mess
that
on
is
his plate.
exactly. That's the other big issue, isn't it? The new Prime Minister, whoever it will be, and it looks more and more likely to be Boris Johnson, will face this growing crisis with Iran in the midst of the seizure of this UK tanker. So with that in mind, how far might the UK go, and particularly if Boris Johnson is at the helm?
Well, the real problem here is that Boris has tried previously himself as Foreign Secretary, which is, you know, a previous role that he had, to get Donald Trump to agree to, you know, renewing that nuclear deal with Iran, and he failed. Now, maybe he's built up more of a rapport with Trump since then. Maybe, you know, Trump's changed his position slightly, but it doesn't look that way. In fact, it looks like the US has hardened on their position. We've also lost our ambassador, Sir Kim Darroch, who had great contacts and you know, was very well respected in the US, and he's gone now because of a leak of his emails that, you know, caused Trump to say he wouldn't deal with him. So it's looking very difficult for Boris to do what former Prime Minister Gordon Brown there was recommending, which is to try and get the US to sign up to push for a renewal of that deal with Iran. It's also going to be quite difficult now, amid Brexit negotiations, to get some kind of cooperation with the European Union. I think it would be very easy, perhaps irresponsible, but very easy for the European Union to use that as leverage over the UK and say, oh, well, yes, we'd like to help you in this situation with Iran, but maybe you need to capitulate here on your demands for Brexit first. And
right.
So that's going to be a very difficult balance for him to make as Prime Minister.
Right, and of course it has to be said, Boris Johnson is a divisive figure. How did he end up as the man poised to take over from Theresa May, given his history?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. And I think it boils down to him being able to say to the Conservative Party membership, and remember this election that he is likely to win is not the whole country, it's the 160,000 Conservative Party members. He is the one who's been able to say, I'm the toughest on Brexit, and I always have been. He's also the most charismatic out of all of the potential leadership candidates that there have been. He is, you know, bombastic, and you know, he can be inaccurate at times. He's been accused of lying or propagating untruths, but people think, and people in the Conservative Party think, that he can win elections because of that charisma, and that's one of their main points that they're voting for. I think it's two things. It's, can he deliver Brexit, and does he want to? Which the answer seems to be yes, and you know, whether that's deal or no deal, he says he's going to deliver it. And then two is, can he win an election when it comes to it, you know, against Labour, the opposition? Can he defeat them? And I think the Conservative Party members think yes, he can. That's why he's where he is now today.
You're right, and at this point, Jeremy Hunt, Johnson's chief rival, has said he will and can work with Johnson, essentially signalling he has surrendered to Boris. Is that what we're seeing here?
Yeah, and I think this is it seems like a bit of a surrender. It's similar to remarks that he made last week as well. I think he realizes that, you know, he's in the jaws of defeat and he can snatch this small victory perhaps. I think he's hoping that Boris Johnson will be gracious in his victory, something that one of the people he really respects, a figure in history, Winston Churchill, you know, always said one should do. So Jeremy Hunt is perhaps hoping that he'll get a good position in cabinet because Boris Johnson will say, OK, Jeremy Hunt represents the other side of the party, the more pro-Remain or at least less hard-line Brexit side of the party. Let's bring him under our wings so we don't have this fringe that we're ousting or you know, we're not further expanding these splits in the Tory party. Something he may do. On the other hand, it may be all futile and Jeremy Hunt will be cast off to the backbenches. We'll just have to see in the next few days.
Most definitely. We'll be watching very closely, of course. Josh Boswell, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rosemary.